I've been trying to get you on this podcast for at least 6 months.
You've never once even suggested the idea.
Have I not?
I didn't even know you had a podcast.
It was after.
That is a lie.
Not until I was on with John and Mike, they were like, Dale has a podcast. I was like,
Whatever. That is
Dale
a
who?
lie.
it is a lie.
Because he was like, oh, man, Jake's doing a really good job with y'all's podcast.
But they were talking about how only did he invite you after Dale or after you were with
Dale's real skill in life is keeping really awesome people close to him.
It is.
Like his only skill.
It is.
I'm just kidding.
That's a valuable skill to have. Let's be honest.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, how do you learn things? You surround yourself by people who are doing the things that are you.
Absolutely. Look, bro, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's how I recognize it.
Same recognizing same.
That's what they say. If you want to be wealthy, hang out with wealthy people.
This is true.
I don't know anybody wealthy, so I can't hang out with any of them.
So if y'all know any, if you can connect me, that'd be great.
Get with some of
You
those
need to find
wealthy
some wealthy people.
Yeah,
Let's go
exactly.
hang out with a bunch of guys like that.
Better.
Better.
Am I not dribbling fit aid?
Yeah, you're just.
Man, that's terrible. Kenny,
What's up, man?
introduce yourself.
I
Kenny
am
Stanford.
Kenny Stanford.
There we go. Father
Of the
married to?
Stanfords.
Married to?
Mandy Stanford.
Boom. How many 7 kids you got?
I have 5 kids.
That's really what we wanted to talk about today. Because me and you have, for every time not every time, let's be realistic. Everybody in public that we talk to thinks that the only thing that we ever talk about in life is fitness and the gym stuff and
It's true, right?
exercise.
Like if y'all are talking together.
No, that's
Or you
what
think
people
you and
associate us with for conversation.
And apparently the podcast that we were just on together actually cleared the air for some people.
Did it really?
I talked to somebody that they told me, like, it's really surprised to me. They were like, I had no idea you guys were friends. I just assumed that
Mortal
like,
enemies.
Not necessarily mortal enemies, but yeah, like there was some sort of like beef. And I was like, no.
That's
Izzy was
really
like, I didn't know you like knew him since you were a kid and stuff. So
That's really funny.
it is. People's perception of reality is very interesting.
Perception is reality to them.
Correct.
So I guess if you don't let people know, then they create their own reality. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just rivalry type stuff.
I think there's certain
comes up more.
people that we don't care because there are certain people we do care what their perception of it.
Oh, for sure.
But the general public,
doesn't
what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not my job to, manage that
Yeah,
for them.
for sure.
Does your gym following like create rivalry too?
This is going not the way I thought it was
No,
going to go.
but I just want to ask the question because y'all brought it up, so I was trying to figure that out. Is it something that exists in your gym?
What exactly do you mean by that?
Like,
It's like, well, no, we discussed this on John and Mike. It's tribalism. It's like community.
for sure. Because yes, people.
There's ownership, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, this is my
is
gym,
mine.
and nobody else is as good as mine, and so
Correct.
therefore they're garbage because they're down the street.
It's called competition, and I mean it's not like hurtful or like degrading or anything like that. It's good. I mean, you want people to be that bought in to where they feel this is mine and I don't want anybody messing with it. So
yeah, to a degree, yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
yes.
To a degree.
Yeah, as long as you don't get weird with it.
Yeah.
so, but y'all have known each other since y'all were kids. Like,
This is
how old?
probably, I was started hanging out at the Christian school. I think it's 7th grade.
Yeah, so it's junior high.
Junior high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was doing the sports.
Yeah,
and
sports there.
And I was like the top athlete at the school at the time.
He was,
Is that
yeah.
the way you remember it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Top athlete that wrote
And-
down all the scores for. Is that an athlete?
Is that manager?
I was
He
the manager.
managed.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be able to go to all the away games and
I
hang out
remember
with
those
everybody,
guys.
but I
That's
didn't
exactly right.
really want to
He had a
compete
clipboard,
at all whatsoever.
right?
That's really funny.
You know what's funny is like I don't like watching sports. Like still to this day, I'm not going to watch someone else. I do enjoy competing in them.
Yeah.
But I had to watch, like my job was to watch every second of every play.
Yeah.
Like I knew all the details of everything that was happening at every game.
Yeah.
Like why would I do that?
That's really funny.
When I look back at it, and I had to stay after the game to enter stats
Yeah.
for a game I didn't even like.
Didn't even like.
I didn't like it at all.
What's weird is like, I think that I hate watching sports on TV too. I like to watch some baseball. And I rarely will watch an entire game of baseball, but I'll at least keep up with the Astros.
I like watching highlight reels with Kingston. It's fun.
But I enjoy playing most sports. Like, just because it's fun to do something.
I like playing.
You know what I mean? So it's different than somebody asked me to sit down to watch a football game right now. I'd be like, are we going to do anything else?
Right.
During those 4 hours or whatever.
I have never watched an entire football game in my entire life, unless my children were playing.
Yeah. There was. So speaking of children, that's really why I wanted you to come on today. That's what we talked about. So Jake and I, obviously, we all have kids. We're dads. But really, we have a totally different perspective of parenting because we've taken different paths. And you have too, obviously, at this point with Ezra. But it is different to a degree because you went through an adoption for your first 4.
Absolutely.
Which is a little bit crazy, man. 4 kids to adopt.
Yeah.
But that's not. It didn't go down that way, right? Y'all, how was the story, y'all?
Can you give us some names real quick?
Yeah, let's do that too.
So, let me think.
Start from the top down.
Ezra's
okay, the bottom up.
Yeah. Ezra's the youngest. He's 5.
Okay.
Then we've got Olive. How old is Olive? She's 10 or 11.
And the curliest hair you've ever seen.
I'm not good with remembering their ages. Olive is 10 or 11. Cash is 12.
Built like a tank.
Kingston is 13. Lace is 15.
Yeah. And it's really funny how like their genetics are so similar.
Yes.
Like the brother sister. It's wild. Like you can tell their brother and sister. You can tell their brother and sister.
Yeah, and we learned real quick that like, man, they have such different personalities. Like Kingston and Lisa have a lot of the same personality traits.
Yeah.
And Cash and Olive have a lot of the
wow, that's so wild how it's ingrained in like our DNA.
It's interesting.
And they don't even know their parents, right? At all.
Nope.
You don't know their parents.
Never. Well, I mean, we know who they are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do they know to ask? Like,
absolutely.
Have they done that before?
Yeah.
You've had to deal with that.
Mm-hmm, yeah. They've asked. We've shown them pictures and stuff.
Yeah. The parents, have they reached out to y'all at all?
No, we made it to where they
can't.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully they can't.
Yeah. 18, I guess at that point.
We've told the kids, hey, when you turn 18, what you do, that's on you.
Yeah.
If you want to go find them, go for it.
Yeah. Support them?
Yeah, I mean, we'd help them if they want to go find them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's go down the road, man. I'm kind of curious, like, what led y'all to adoption? Y'all foster first? How'd they go? Because I really don't know the story on the back end of that.
Well, so it's interesting. When Mandy and I first got married, we always just kind of made the joke that we never wanted to have kids.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Like, just a joke. Like, nope, never having kids. And so it was just a joke. And 4 years later, you know, we all know how babies are made. We weren't doing anything to stop it. And Mandy wasn't getting pregnant. So I had always told Mandy, even before we got married, that, you know, I was interested in adoption. And when she wasn't getting pregnant, right, so the talk comes up. So what do we do about it? Mm-hmm. And my, like, natural instant reaction, my just like gut reaction is, well, we have to look into adoption, you know, because there is the other options, you know, see what's wrong with you,
sure,
figure out how to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let's look at our adoption options. And anybody that knows me knows that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So once you start down that path, like, it was crazy because we literally had just started talking about the idea of it. And then a friend of ours was working for a foster home, and we had brought up that we were interested in adoption with our friends, with people at church. And so they were like, okay, cool. And so this lady that works at a foster home says, you can foster to adopt. And it's the most affordable route to do it, is if you foster to adopt, it's affordable. And so we started looking into that. We looked into, you know, there's foster agencies. We didn't know anything at all about any of this.
So there was nobody guiding you guys at all? Like,
no, just that person suggested that we look into foster to adopt.
Wow.
And then she pointed us at an agency that foster home she worked at.
Was that Arrow?
It was Arrow.
Okay, because Arrow's a pretty big name. Are they still big in the adoption community? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know it was at one point.
I'm not involved.
Currently,
so they are actually foster. That's what they're.
Okay.
They do, handle adoptions, but it's primarily foster care is what their goal is. They're trying to find foster parents. So we look into Arrow. I'm trying to think of the name. Like it's Arrow Child and Family Ministries or something. So we go. We meet with the people. They're like, "Here's what you have to do." We start taking classes, and 2 months later, they're like, "Hey, we've got a baby. Do you want to?" And that's how they do it.
That's quick.
They call you because listen, what happens is CPS shows up,
right.
and now this kid belongs to the state, and they have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll get into like, I want to talk about a lot with that, but we'll get to that with CPS.
Okay.
And so they call you. There's a list, right? You're on the list. We had just gotten approved. I don't even think we were actually like officially official.
I'm just thinking because I know some other people who foster, and it was a longer road than 2 months, but that's a quick.
This is a really long story, so
okay.
I don't know. They call us. We have a baby. Do you want her? And I don't remember. My instant reaction is always yes.
Yeah.
Mandy has some more hesitancy because she realizes that she's going to have to raise the child. So I'll provide for it and provide for her, and then she'll raise the child. That's how it's worked.
That's how it works.
With all 5 kids.
Yeah. Way to go, Mandy.
Yeah. So we say yes. I think they had to come do it. I think the last thing for us to get approved was a home study. So they came real quick. They did the home study, and we have this newborn baby. Now, I do want to clear something up for anybody who's interested in fostering or adopting. Make sure you fully understand what it is you're doing and what it is you're getting into. And I'm not saying that like you should not do it or to hesitate, but just make sure you know what it is so that you're not caught off guard by something, because that's what happened to us. So we bring this baby home, and we are under the impression, and it probably was our fault, but we assumed that this child was ours. Even though it was foster care, we told the foster agency our number one goal is to adopt. Like we don't want to foster kids that we're not going to adopt.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I'm telling you, we knew nothing. We went to these classes where ultimately they're teaching you how to be a foster parent.
Yeah.
We went through the classes. All right. We would like to, we want to adopt a child. So give us a kid that we can adopt.
Yeah.
And so we were just under the full impression that this was our child and that there was no chance of it ever going anywhere. So we had a baby shower. Like that was she was ours.
Yeah. Wow.
And so we have a caseworker, a CPS caseworker that comes to the house for regular visits. Mm-hmm. So she either comes by or notifies us by email that the child is going to have a hearing, right? And so they do this, regular hearings with the parents or with just to check on the case. Like they have to...
Is this like to see where the parents are?
It's to see where the whole thing is. Because the idea is, all right, they're not just going to keep a child in foster care for eternity. That is not their goal. Mm. Family reunification is the number one priority of foster care, sometimes even to a fault. Mm-hmm. But again, like that's their primary goal is we got to get these kids back with their parents. And I completely understand that, again, to some degree. So Mandy's like, you should probably go to that. And I'm thinking it's probably just a routine, whatever. I don't know anything, but I'm like, okay, I'll go. So it's in Houston. And so I go to this hearing. I have no clue what anything is or what's happening. I don't even think I've ever been to court before. So I'm sitting in this courtroom. It's family court. And they're talking about stuff, and I'm like really confused. I'm like, what is happening right now? And when it's over, a lawyer comes over to me and says, hey, they are placing the child with a family friend.
Wow.
And so
you're good.
Y'all make fun of me. Like, I don't want to do this. No.
This is good. This is good. It's good.
I want to get through it.
Yeah.
So I'm in court.
And you have no idea this is coming.
In Houston by myself. No. I don't think I was by myself.
Either way, you didn't have a clue this was coming.
No, I had no idea.
It was a punch to the face, punch to the gut.
Huge.
Yeah.
Like, my whole world just was like...
rocked. Yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
So, and we had her for a month.
Yeah.
Where, imagine you had a kid.
Yeah.
That was our kid.
Yeah.
So, now I have to call Mandy.
Yeah.
Like, I got the news. That was bad enough.
Yeah.
Telling her, way worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I call her up. She's there. Actually, I didn't call her up. I went to her. She was at work. I go in. I tell her what's happening. She's devastated. And, like, she goes into, like, just like a depression.
Yeah.
Just meltdown.
Yeah.
So, you know, we get through that, figure things out, work through it. We're extremely kind of frustrated and offended at the process that we felt misled.
Sure.
You know, even if we had missed something, like we gave them every sign that we were like, this is our kid. We're going to keep this kid forever. So anyways, we had to work through all that. And then I don't know how long it was later until Mandy called me. I was at work and she said, hey, so Arrow called me and they have a baby. What is wrong with me? I swear I have testosterone. I swear. Okay, so they call, Mandy calls me. She's like, they have a baby boy, but he has a sister. And he is newborn. He's at the hospital right now. They want us to come get him tomorrow. But he has a 20-month-old sister. And they want us to come get her tomorrow. And again, my immediate is, yeah, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like trying to process this. Okay, so we're going to have a baby and a 20-month-old, and we have zero experience whatsoever at parenting.
Yeah.
And so we end up agreeing, and then I find out later on that they had called her every day for weeks.
Oh my goodness.
With kids to place. Probably not every day. But there had been many where she just
couldn't do it.
The second she answers, nope.
Yeah.
You know.
Heartbroken, dude. Yeah.
Devastated.
Yeah.
And during that time, we had sold, this is all during like a very, I don't know, we were going through some huge life changes. We sold our 4-bedroom house, brand new 4-bedroom house in Columbia Lakes to buy a metal building, a dilapidated metal building that we were going to live in and start our first business in. We were living in a 1-bedroom duplex when we had the first foster placement.
Dude,
her name was Paisley.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the only way we can get approved to even, because they have to do a home study, to accept Kingston and Lisa, is we had to move in with Mandy's parents. We didn't have a house. We had nowhere to live.
Yeah.
We're living in a 1-room duplex, and we didn't have any other options. The place we were planning on living in was under construction. And I was working all day at my job, and then I would work till like 10 o'clock at night.
Working on the house?
Working on my house.
Yeah.
Every day. To the point where sometimes I would sleep there. Like I would just work, and then I would just fall asleep there. Get up, go back to work. And so we move in with them, do the home study. We bring this newborn baby home, and then we go the next day to a foster home. And it was actually the foster home that the lady worked at that told us about the whole thing. And this was like 6 months later. And so it was kind of weird that like there are thousands upon thousands of kids in foster care.
Oh yeah.
Like she just happened to be living at that house. And so we go to that house, and it's a foster home, which they don't really do anymore. They don't. In Texas, the laws have changed.
Oh, okay.
At least it had as we were getting out of it, and they don't allow foster homes. You can only have X amount of children. I don't know what the rules are, but it can't be like a big group home. So we went over there to meet Lisa, and I can tell Mandy is just like, I don't know if I can do this. You're looking at a child that you
under 2, so 20, yeah,
and you don't know anything
about a little over
them,
a year and a half,
right? You don't know anything about them, and so, anyways, Mandy was very hesitant to the point that, like, 2 days after we bring both of them home, she calls me. I don't know if we can do this, and I'm like, babe, it's gonna be okay, I promise.
As you're at work and she's at home,
yes,
it's gonna be fine.
Well, you know.
This is totally great. We're doing good. No,
it's going to be fine. It's fine. So, and we're living at her parents' house, mind you, in their living room.
Yeah.
That's our bedroom, was their living room. Man, so it was interesting.
Dude, I didn't realize this store was this wild.
Every day for the first at least 30 days that we had Lisa, every time she saw my face, every time, she screamed bloody murder.
Oh my goodness.
I'm serious. Like,
it's because it was because you were fat then. That's why.
Maybe. Absolutely terrified of me. And I would just hold her, and she would just be screaming at me.
Which is so wild because Lisa's such a.
Oh yeah, no, we're like best friends.
I know, and she's so like very calm.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Yes.
So how were you able to move forward right then and not put up these huge walls of taken away from me?
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
So
was this like a for sure deal?
It's a
already?
balance. No, not at all.
It still wasn't for sure.
Mandy had recalibrated her mindset on how this thing works.
So round 2, you kind of
and she was able to make that realization that we are taking a chance.
Yeah.
So she had to work through that, which is why she said no so many times.
Especially because y'all went the foster to
and I honestly
route,
still yes. And I still honestly don't know what made her, what the shift was that was like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's never told me. I've never really gotten that out of her, but she had that shift and she was like, okay, I guess we'll try. So now we have this new, mindset that, okay, clearly we want to adopt these children, but there's no guarantee, literally no guarantee. And so I don't have the timelines. She did so much paperwork. It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Just the paperwork alone.
It was years for y'all, wasn't it?
Years.
Before adoption.
Yes.
And I remember.
So at any time in years, they could have came and taken this.
Literally any time. To the point that we would go to court, and if we didn't speak up, they would not be with us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On several different court dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are you speaking towards? Like, there's no, like, that.
They literally were talking about this, like, here's the plan.
Yeah. And you're like, hold up. Yeah.
And so we had to, because of what happened, we started learning what are our legal rights.
Oh, yeah.
As a foster parent, right? Because they're a part of the equation. They're not, when you go to court, they do not care what the foster parent thinks.
Oh, I got you.
So we had to learn what our rights were, right? We still have rights as foster parents. And I don't remember exactly what they are, but and again, they probably changed by now, to be honest with you. But after they've been in your home for 6 months, you're able to speak on their behalf. But if you don't hit that 6-month mark, they literally, you can't. The judge, he's like, I don't even know why you're here. Like, you have nothing to do with this.
Past 6 months.
Because again, their number one priority is to
family reunification. Yeah.
And so once we learned and so we realized that, and we were like, okay, that's the process of what we're dealing with. We realized that they very well may go back, and that's probably it's okay. And we had to reconcile that it's okay. Yeah. They're gonna, if they're putting them back, clearly they're moving towards their goal, like what their ultimate goal is with this whole system. But once we like read their cases, right? Because when you get them, you get their case. You know why they were taken.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, hold on. So now it's not just about adoption for us. Now we're advocates for these kids that don't have anyone.
Yeah.
Because CPS steps in and they're dealing with thousands of children, right? It's, it's
overwhelming.
It's sad because it's like these are good, well-meaning people. Mm-hmm. And now they're just these kids are just a number. It's just another kid. Mm-hmm. It's just truly, it's very desensitizing for the CPS workers.
Yeah.
Because they see it all day, every single day. That's all they do is take kids from parents. That's it. Mm-hmm. For various different reasons. And sometimes it has a happy ending, but most times it's like the worst. And it's a tragic system and a tragic situation.
Yeah, I know somebody who works in, well, you do too, but we know somebody that works in CPS. Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of friends.
Unbelievable the things
it's nuts
that they have to deal with. It's unreal,
for sure. And the turnover rate is through the roof. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to court. We're fighting for these kids, even to the point where I don't remember if it was with both cases, but they are fighting. The parents are given, court-appointed attorneys.
Right.
The child has his own representation. And so they are, they're trying to work together, but also still advocate on behalf of who they're representing.
Right.
But it's weird, right? Because it's like, that's my kid.
Yeah.
And so they recognize all of that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of weird, right? Being a family lawyer and doing that, being the court-appointed attorney for those cases has to be kind of strange.
Yep.
But the longer you're there, you realize that just like the CPS workers, this is just another day in court for most of these lawyers. Mm. It's their job.
It's their job.
It's what they do all day, every day. So they're not getting emotional about this stuff. And then you've got the judge that has the weight of the world on their shoulders, right? They make the final decision.
Right.
They listen to the lawyers make their arguments, and then they say, here's what's going to happen.
Past 6 months, you can inject into that?
Yeah. And so every chance we got, we did. We would raise our hand and say, we have another suggestion after they would give their plan.
Yeah.
And then we got an attorney for part of it. And if we hadn't got that attorney, like I'm telling you, we did certain things, and we found favor with the kid's attorney on Kingston and Lace's case.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so she was fighting for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fighting against the mother because, and listen, let me make something clear, because it may sound like I don't have compassion for these parents. Mm-hmm. I do, but the role that I'm in, I am advocating for the child.
Absolutely.
And I cannot advocate for both in the role that I'm in. So while I want you to get your life together, and I want you to figure things out, and I want to make you to make the most of your life, and I want you to have a second chance. I absolutely, under no circumstances, want you to have a second chance with this human.
Yeah. Agree.
So, some people may disagree.
That sounds really harsh, though.
It is harsh.
But at the same time,
but if you understood the circumstances,
if you understand the circumstances, in the first place.
And it's not just that, but it comes down to, again, you can have a second chance.
Yeah.
It comes down to, I'm not willing to risk this life for it.
For your second chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Meaning, and you don't have to in order to get your second chance. This isn't even necessary for you to have a second chance. Yeah. So let's just not even risk it. So, I'm telling you, we got hardcore about letting these parents know, we're going to do everything we can. Because we read the cases, and then we watched how they acted in court. And then we got to do, we had Mandy, again, had to take them for parental visits. all 4 kids had parental visits. Actually, I don't know if Olive did. But they had to go sit. Man, Mandy had to drop them off.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And watch. You know,
That's
it was
scary.
it was rough for her because she's like, these are my children.
Yeah.
And then on another note, you know, it caused Mandy to put up some walls, right?
Absolutely.
To protect herself.
Yeah.
And so that was a whole nother deal of like, these are my kids, but maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
that's
that's
a
the
frustrating place to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just a dumb guy. And so it was like, no, they're just my kids. I will deal with the gut wrenching pain when it comes, but they're just my kids. And so me and Mandy do make a great team because we are very different on a lot of things. But at the end of the day, like the goal is always the same, but maybe the way that we go about it is different. But we always are on the same page as far as like, nope, here's what we're trying to do. Here's what we're trying to accomplish.
The end goal is the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we complement each other. We don't pull each other apart. We're like, where she's deficient, I make up for it. And where I'm deficient, she makes up for it.
It's good.
And we hold each other.
What was the timeline? Because you didn't obviously get them all 4 at the same time.
Oh no! So we get Kingston and Lisa at the exact same time.
Yeah, and they're brother and sister, but they're not related. These other 2. Right?
So Kingston and Lisa are brother and sister, same mom, same dad.
Yes.
And both of them were Mexican citizens.
Oh, wow.
And so, the mom was in a gang. She didn't speak English at all. And again, like as the cases unfolded, you find out that she's like still involved in gang activity, but like, but still doing the things that the court's requesting her to do. And so like trying to play them.
So on paper,
I don't blame her because she's like, and one more thing to say about the parents. Like, I cannot imagine what their life was like to get them to where they were. It could not have been even close to anything remotely ideal. So like, I feel for them on that level. Like it's tragic. Like it's just, it's the way the world is though.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. The oldest 2.
Yep. So they're, and then Olive. So then next, okay. So this is a story. Yeah. Hold on though.
Okay.
So we've got these 2 and
it's official on them.
Yep.
Like the case is closed.
No. This was years because y'all like did this whole fight for years and years and years.
I think was 4 or 5 years until we adopted the first one, which was Lisa, I think is who we adopted first officially, which is crazy.
That you would.
We didn't get to adopt them. No.
Yeah.
They have separate cases
together.
They have separate cases.
Wow.
So when you went to court, you were going for one kid, and then you'd have to go back for the next kid.
Well, no.
How did that work?
Man, you know what? Don't quote me on a lot of this stuff. I don't do good with dates and timelines. Mandy like was in it, living it, filling out papers, making calendars. So like she needs to be the one to answer these questions. But I just know that for all of them, it was several years. They were all out of order.
Yeah.
None of it made any logical sense.
Sure.
Mandy calls me one day. I'm at work. And again, we weren't doing anything to stop it. She says, hey, you might want to come home. She doesn't call me and say that ever for any reason ever. So I rush home. Is everything okay? Well, so I'm pregnant.
Unexpected.
Like the most like Mary was probably a little, more unexpected than we were. But
yeah, but pretty close, all right? Close.
I was like, wait, but that's no, what? And so I was like, look, you got to go to the doctor. We got to make sure this thing's real because I don't know what you're talking about. And so she was pregnant, and we start that journey. And then I'm just going to kind of like cut through this so I don't cry.
Yeah.
So she almost dies. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I almost watch her die. She's bleeding internally. Her uterus ruptured. And
yeah. You good, man.
I know. It makes me. Mandy literally said, I said, I said, I'm going to record a podcast with Dale. and it's going to be on
Oh.
adoption and fatherhood. She
Yeah.
goes, oh, okay, you're going to cry a lot.
Hey, don't worry. Jake and I cry all the time.
I'm crying
know,
right
but
now.
it frustrates
I'm tearing
me.
up right now.
I just want to get my point across.
Oh,
I just want to make the case. I'm not trying to be emotional right now.
Yeah.
So, the real reason I'm frustrated is because I want to be able to talk about this.
Yeah.
And not like ruin it with like this man sob, because that's where it'll go if I let it. If I'm not like, stop, it will go, it'll be real ugly. People are like, get that guy some help. He's very unstable.
You sure he should have 5 kids?
Yeah, what's happening?
He's going to be the next court case.
So just to let you guys know that Mandy doesn't cry for any reason at all ever. So we definitely balance each other. She's not a crier.
Oh, man.
She says that we should cry on the inside like a winner.
So Mandy.
She almost dies.
Almost dies.
The baby dies. And then again, we're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is happening? So Mandy goes into this postpartum depression where she's like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Very stressful. We're trying to figure out, and then all the while still fighting for these other 2 kids.
Yeah.
Trying to make that happen. And then on close to that, Emerson's due date, Mandy, she gets this idea. She's like, I need a baby and I know where to get one.
Oh, man.
So she calls Arrow. Hey, so we're ready for another placement. The next day, Cash shows up at our house.
Wow, dude.
Just like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That doesn't happen. That never happens, ever. There are people on year wait lists for a newborn baby.
Yeah.
You want a teenager? We can go get one right now.
Yeah.
Literally, you could call foster care right now.
Yeah.
They would bring a teenager to your house.
Absolutely.
Probably like 5 and up. They could bring one today.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted foster kids in your house, just so you know, you could have them today.
For sure.
I mean, there's probably some paperwork you got to fill out. Maybe next week.
But realistically, though, most people want to adopt or foster
newborn.
a newborn.
Yeah, especially when it comes to adoption.
Yeah,
It's a newborn or nothing. Like we don't.
Yeah.
He was 4 months old, so he wasn't a newborn.
Still,
most people was like, that's close enough.
Yeah.
It's like 1 to 12 months is what they're looking for. Like it's a product or something.
Yeah.
So when we went in, we told them we want a newborn, but like if you got something, call us because we want to keep an open mind, and we do want to, we're filling our need for a child, but also trying to save a child. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we wanted to keep an open mind there.
I bet that's how a lot of fostering happens, though. Like realistically, because there's parents who want to feel the need
absolutely
of a child, but at the same time they realize there's a great need
for sure
for these kids.
Absolutely, and again, I'm going to get to that about the whole foster care situation. So,
Cash comes in.
Cash shows up, and like instantly we're in love with Cash. I don't know if you met Cash, but he's got this look and this charm that like he's just, he's like a teddy bear.
Did he ever have Mr. T hair?
Oh yeah, we did the whole Mr. T. He was Mr. T for Halloween.
That's what I was thinking. I thought I remember seeing
really
that.
well. He was also Nacho Libre one night. He crushed that. He had the cape, the mustache. He had a piece of corn. It was amazing.
That's amazing. Knowing Cash, he probably tried to eat it.
Probably. No, he was just kind of angry. He's like, "Why do I have to be this? I don't understand." But he was, he was little, so it was fine. So then we get to do parent visits with a whole new mom.
Yeah.
And her story was really sad. She was a prostitute out of Houston. She's just pumping the kids out too. Several kids in foster care.
Yeah.
Kingston and Elisa had several previous siblings that the grandfather had taken. And when they got to Kingston and Elisa, he was like, no more. Like, no, I'm an old man.
He was from Mexico, right? You said
yes. Yep.
No mas.
And so that was the situation there. And so with Cash, the mom ended up in prison. Yep, the mom ended up in prison. And they called us because we talked about it. Because they told us what she did, who she was. And they were like, she has the potential to get pregnant again. So if she does, like, are you willing to accept? You know what I mean? Because they want to keep the kids together. They try really hard to keep the kids together.
Yeah.
So they had to throw it. And we were like, yeah, if she ends up pregnant again, call us. So she's in prison. She's pregnant. They call us. Hey, so it looks like she's going to have this child in prison. And it means that it automatically goes to the state. She had that.
You're right, dude.
Get
You're
it
good.
together.
No, you're good. It's understandable, man. Seriously.
No,
my
I just
goodness.
wanna be able to speak.
I know. But it's understandable.
She had Olive the day before she got out of prison.
One more day and she could have been in hospital. Yeah.
Or Allie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
She had nobody.
So thank God, actually, that she had her in the hospital then, because then
Yes.
she goes to the state. Yeah.
So,
Ooh, man.
yeah, then Olive ends up at our house. One other thing, just a fun fact. All of these kids have different birth names, except for, well, Olive, actually, when we got her, she was Baby. That was her name, Baby Williams. That was on her paperwork and everything, because the mother hadn't named her yet. Except for Lisa. She was 20 months old, and we were like, we're not gonna, the other ones, they didn't have, it's in their minds, they don't know any different.
Yeah.
And, I don't even know if we were legally able to do that. Like we were
You're just changing names.
This is what we're going to call
what's
you.
happening. Yeah.
This is what we're going to call you. And then Mandy had to live with the reality of every paperwork she filled out. She had to put their
legal
their
name.
birth certificate, their legal name. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sure it was fine because obviously we changed their names when we adopted them, and like everybody was all a part of that. It wasn't like whatever. Yeah. Then we get Olive. And then again, it's just this process with all of them. We had to fight for Cash and Olive. We had to go to several hearings. We even went to this thing called, what is it when you don't go to court, but you go to, it's before you go to court. I cannot think.
It's not like
mediation.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
We went to mediation.
So it's basically sitting like a table like this.
Yes, this is exactly what it was. The lawyers are there, but it's just not a legal proceeding.
It's just
nothing.
Communication,
it's like,
discussing.
let's talk about this and see if we can't come to an agreement outside of court.
Exactly.
And so that's what the goal was. Like, let's figure this out outside of court. She, I don't remember what happened, but she ends up getting like super angry, and like storms out of there. And then ultimately what happened with both of them, for them, because what we're waiting on is for them to terminate rights. Like, we go to each court hearing, that's all we're looking for. Are they going to terminate rights? What is the next step before they terminate rights? That's why we're going to hearings. That's what we're looking for. When are they going to terminate the parents' rights? And then I think there's like even this like 30-day waiting period or something after they terminate rights. Yeah. It's all crazy. So, but with both of them, they ended up failing a drug test. And that was like the last straw. Again, the judge, he can literally be like, all right, we're going to give them another chance. Here's what you have to do now. It's all on the judge ultimately to make that final call. Right. They're using the law to inform them and help them make their decisions, but ultimately they decide. And so, we did have this judge when we first started going that we had some favor with, and that quickly changed. And we had this other judge that she was not a fan of us. And we didn't do anything. Like, we're just showing up in court.
Have you seen yourself? You look like you.
These are good points. It's actually a really good point. You got a point there. So anyways, she was not a fan of us until we adopted the first set. And then she was with us. I mean, we were with her for like 6 years.
Oh,
Crazy.
Yeah. She was an advocate at that point for
She
you.
became, yes.
Friend.
Oh, and then with Cash, we ended up with, this was the first time we ended up with a child advocate, or they have some sort of term. I don't know what it is. Anyways, it's an advocate. And it is a third party that is neutral. They have no person's interest in mind except the child, and they're not in any legal, like they're like it's a, you'll have to look into it. It's very interesting. So
it is interesting.
And anybody can apply to do it. Obviously they have very strict rules. So there's this guy, this stranger, straight up coming to our home basically to pry, to see like, how's he being treated? All these things. It was wild. Yeah. Like, and he was doing it as a volunteer, whereas CPS, it's just a job. They're filling out. Don't get me wrong. They're trying, I'm not saying they don't care, but it's a job. This guy, it was not a job for him. It was his duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he did not like us either. He was not a fan of us fostering.
Oh, really?
No.
Makes no sense.
But again, towards the end, I think I think with him, he was fighting to be as neutral as he could. And so he didn't need to like us. That wasn't a part of the deal.
Yeah.
He just wanted to make sure that
Cash was
being taken care of
yeah.
the way that he deserved to be taken care of. I say that now, we were not a fan of that guy. We were not. The feelings were mutual. We were like, you know how you don't like us? It'd be cool if you just never came back. That'd be fantastic.
Well, at that moment, are you just like, oh, I wonder if he's writing something down about this or this?
Oh, like no. Mandy had to live with that reality all day, every day. Cash was and is the most accident-prone human alive. You have to write up every bump, scrape, whatever.
And if you know anything about
there
little
has
boys,
to be a report written about it. And Mandy finally was like, look, I can't write everything Cash does.
Dude.
And the CPS worker would be like, berating her, like, why didn't you write this up? Questioning her, what happened, whatever, this and that. And Mandy's like, I mean, can you imagine? Like, think about if you, with your children, right, that you have that are yours, someone's come, because that's how we were trying to raise these children. And then there's these outsiders coming in, questioning us about every detail of how we do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. Like, what are you feeding them? How many times a day do they eat? You know, like, all this stuff.
But on the other hand, you have a drugged out prostitute that's not
that has to do
the bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
To get custody back.
And
so here's the thing
what blows my mind is they're even fighting.
Yes. So hold on though. That right there goes to show you how humans are.
No.
Even the worst of us, there is that
internal motherly instinct.
Even when you think you have no conscience left.
Yeah.
Clearly. Because, you're right. They could have been like, bye. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And they're living the worst life imaginable. And somehow, some reason, they still think, like, she's homeless. She doesn't have a home. Mm-hmm. So that's like, and never really has.
Well, you didn't.
That's like step
you didn't
one.
Either at one point.
Good point. This is true. That's actually a good point. She didn't even have anybody to take her in.
Right, yeah.
So this is how, I haven't told any of the details of how any of the other kids were picked up, right? Cash was found so she left Cash under a friend's bed. And they just heard him screaming and was like, okay, I guess we're going to turn this in because we don't want this kid. When we got him, he was hoarse, couldn't cry. Like nothing would come out. Yeah. Who knows, like, what that kid dealt with for 4 months. Mm-hmm. For real.
Yeah.
Who knows?
When you're reading these cases where y'all, like, just breaking.
Oh, we're like... So that's when, like, instantly it's like, that's our kid, and we're going to fight. Like, whatever
it takes. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And even when we meet these parents, we're like... And they're, trying to do, whatever they need to do to get their kid back. But you can tell, like, you're doing the very bare minimum. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then everything's all wrapped up. We're done with that part. We've got 4 kids. We're good. 4 kids. That's what we're good. That's a lot of kids. 4 kids is a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan says, do you want to know what it's like having 4 kids? He says, imagine you're drowning. Someone hands you a baby. Like this. Nailed it. So we got 4 kids. Adoptions are all final. We got a happy, nice little family. Mandy calls me again.
Dude, you're about to make me cry because I know.
Hey, you should come home. I'm like, oh God, I know. But again, that was the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
Because the doctor,
you're not saying, yeah.
The doctor, when the other pregnancy that she had went south, he's like, you're not getting pregnant. This is not it. You're not getting pregnant.
Again.
Right. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
She's got all kind of jacked up stuff with the way her uterus is shaped and all that stuff that I know nothing about or don't even pretend to understand.
You mansplained it very well. Good job.
Yeah, it's about all I got.
Jacked up and stuff
it's
on
about
the
all I
inside.
got. And so she comes home, she pulls me into the closet, and she says, hey, so I'm pregnant. And I'm like, are you sure? That's not. And I go, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to have a baby? She's like, she had already, had to sit with that for a little while.
Kenny's like, I know this adoption
And
place.
it's the first time that she's ever seen me freaked out about, because I'm like, let's go.
Unfazed, yeah.
And she was a little concerned about how concerned I was. And she's like, we're going to have a kid. And I'm like, and then, right, all the memories fled back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of what we had to go through. And I'm like, is it even like you could go lay down right now? Like, why are you up moving around? And so that was an interesting 9 months, to say the least. It was, weekly doctor visits.
Yeah.
And
how did that go? The pregnancy, did it go good?
It went amazing.
That's crazy. It blows my mind. It just shows you that God is good, man.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So, but it was like this, we were still under this state of constant, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is it going to go full term? They're already planning, like, it's probably not going to go full term. We have a plan to do this, that, and the other to make sure that you guys are successful, but we're going to watch it the whole time and just do what's best. And Mandy, you ain't telling her nothing. So I'm like, literally, like, we will, your mom, my mom, we're all going to pitch in. Everybody's going to pitch in. You're not moving for 9 months. Like, don't do anything. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not happening.
She did all the things.
Yeah.
Like she normally does. Within reason. She didn't do anything unsafe. She didn't do anything crazy.
Yeah.
But she lived her life a lot more than I would have preferred her do.
Sure.
Because she knows her body. Let's back up. So when she almost died, she went to we both went to the hospital because she's like, Kenny, something ain't right. So we both go to the hospital and we go to the maternity ward, and because our doctor is delivering a baby, and we're like waiting to talk to him. And she said, listen, the doctor came out. He told me to tell you, you just need to go home and he'll, we'll figure it out. And the nurse told her, it's probably just gas.
Wow.
No, Mandy's like, if I ever see that nurse again. They sent her home to die.
Yeah.
She goes home. She's laying in bed. I stayed home from work, checking on her every once in a while. I walk into the room at this one point and I'm like, hey, so how you feeling? She's like, not really responding. And finally, after a few minutes, I'm like, if you don't get up right this second, I'm calling 911. She was like, okay. I'm like, oh, this is real. So I did call 911.
Wow.
So yeah, that was all very fresh on my mind, that whole pregnancy.
Sure.
And we did everything we can to avoid anything happening like that. And then 9 months later, Ezra's born, and like just, perfect little boy.
Normal,
yeah, like
kid.
Believe it or not, even with all this, I mean, he's better than normal. He's a handsome little dude, like for real. He's and he has all of Mandy's smarts. So yeah, he just tested for the GT, whatever that is. I don't know what that means.
I don't know
I
what that
never
means.
was.
What is the GT?
Gifted and talented.
Oh, is that what it is?
I mean, I didn't even know
he's
they
a
did
smart
that
kid
in kindergarten. He's very smart.
Yeah,
he's
what is that? What is that?
He's very smart. He reads really well. He writes books. Like, he's crazy. He's super smart. Yes,
that's crazy.
And you know, because he's around 4 older siblings all the time, right?
Yeah.
Nobody babies him.
Yeah.
So he's talking just like they talk. So he knows.
No.
he actually challenges his teachers sometimes on things, and he's right.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good.
No, I know. And to where his teacher will write us home and be like, so interesting, your son challenged me on whatever, and turns out he was right and I was wrong. And we're like, I'm sorry about that. We'll talk to him. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, he was right.
That's crazy.
So yeah. So anyways, 5 kids. So let's rewind, because I want to round out the story, because you have all these details. And the part that makes it, like, if that wasn't enough, we are, and I'm not going to cry. I swear I'm not going to cry.
You're a liar, but that's okay.
So we're in church, and there is a pastor there, and he is prophesying over me and Mandy. And we literally had like the running joke, we're never having kids. It's never going to happen. The whole church knew it. We told them all the time. Because what do they do to the newlyweds when you having kids?
When you're having babies.
Never.
Yeah.
Well,
That was our response.
This is at the very beginning before.
Yes.
Before it all.
We had 0 children.
Yeah.
And I think we had maybe been married 2 years. And he says, I see 4 kids.
Oh, man.
And so the whole church laughs.
Yeah.
Because they know, they're like, these are the kids that say they're never having kids.
Yeah.
And we look at each other and we're like, what's he talking about? And so that, that happened. He said a lot of other stuff. That happened. That same minister comes back the next year because he was an evangelist. And his whole ministry is orphanages. He builds orphanages all over the world.
Yeah.
Maybe you can caption it. He comes back the next year and calls us up again. And he says, I see 5 kids.
Oh, my goodness, dude.
And we still have 0 kids.
Yeah.
And we're just young newlyweds. We don't know anything. So, and we're not like, we're looking at each other thinking, you got the wrong people. Like, and we're literally thinking, okay, this is super sketchy. Last year he says 4, this year he says 5.
Next year he says
right?
6.
So, like, in retrospect, right? Looking back, we can put things together,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Wow.
But sitting there, we're literally questioning this man,
Yeah.
his integrity,
Yeah.
questioning God.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we like looked at each other and was like, okay, this is a mistake. Like, I don't know why he's saying these things. Yeah. And so that precludes that really
Long story about adoption and then your kids.
Story.
Man, dude, that's so crazy.
It is extremely crazy.
That is so crazy.
And I mean,
That's awesome.
And all through that, like, we're living life. Like, there's so much other stuff going on.
Absolutely.
Down to, everybody's already heard my story of how, grit came about, right? That's the story typically people want to hear, right?
Yeah.
They want to hear that part of it. And so those kids are the ones that inspired me, Kingston and Lisa.
Yeah.
I just had 2 kids when I started that journey.
Yeah.
And I'm about to turn 30 years old, and I'm a chunky fella. And I didn't care about fitness, health, nothing. Like, it was the furthest thing from my mind. I ate fried food at every meal, and I drank either soda or energy drinks. I never touched a water. Like, I was like, what do you do with water? And then I was looking at them, and my whole life, my parents have taught me, mindset and the scripture, right? And I'm like, I am not doing a good job with any of this. And these kids are like, I'm their example of how to, live life well. Yeah. And so I was like, I think I can do better. And so again, like, they're the ones that inspired me to even start doing any of this. Yeah. Them and Mandy.
For sure.
Obviously, I've got this smoking hot wife that, like, defies logic. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I was in, like, whatever the worst version of me could have been, that was what I was physically. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. A lot of the mindset stuff was already there, but I just wasn't taking action.
Yeah, it had to be developed. Yeah, I think it's that way for a lot of us with that part of it. At least it wasn't for me. I was like, dude, I'm raising kids, I have a wife, and I am a slob. Right. I'm a terrible example of a human being and a man. Right.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, I will tell you that, like, from a young age, I always knew that adoption was something I was interested in. And I'm going to say some things that will step on probably everyone's toes. And I'm okay with that. I think we all need to be challenged. I love being challenged. I want people to make me uncomfortable. People that love me. I love the whole faithful are the wounds of a friend. Like, that's real talk. So get ready to be wounded, everyone. So the only reason that CPS is in the dire straits that it's in, and that the foster care system is because Christians are not, like, fulfilling the gospel, and they're not rescuing orphans. And they can, like, if you were to sit down and interview, like, if I were to sit down and interview anyone, so why haven't you fostered yet? I can assure you, I would not get a sufficient answer on my end.
Sure.
It would be what I call every day in the fitness world an excuse.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling just regular people every day, stop making excuses. And so when you told me adoption adoption, you told me adoption and fatherhood, I was like, I don't know if people want to know. They're not ready. Like, do something. Like, we are responsible, and we will be held accountable for all of those children that literally are sleeping on a CPS couch tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
They got nothing. No one, nothing. They literally believe, why was I born? And so Christians want to argue, they want to fight against abortion. Yeah. They want to vote on it. Like, do you support abortion or not?
Ooh, man, yeah, I get you. Ooh, brutal.
So you want to take a stand on that, right? You want to have an opinion. You want to be vocal. You want to attack people. You want to be passionate. You want to protect the unborn. What about the born? What do you want to do about that? Where are you? Like, where are you on this issue? What are you doing? And so and again, it's not like it is a call out. Like, we are responsible. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Does it bother you? If it bothers you, you should be doing something about it. It's real simple. There's no gray area. It's like, well, I'm not qualified. Okay, that means a kid sleeps on a CPS couch tonight. Or worse. Trust me, there are a lot of foster care homes that's a money game.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Yeah. It's a
we know how manipulative humans can be. Yeah. They're like, they need kids for whatever their personal reasons are. For real. Yeah. And they can look real good on the outside. They can pass every CPS test known to man. And that's the sad situation of the foster care system. I'm not even talking about adoption. Like, adoption's one thing. And I don't even think we can talk about, like, the true, like, because adoption is different than foster care. It truly is. Like, there is there is a way to adopt, and like that's a whole different system. Foster care is foster care. That's just providing a decent living environment for another human that has zero, like no one's looking out for them, but the government. So we also, as Christians, we want to complain about the government. The government can do this better. The government, and then we allow them to 100% be responsible for these children that no one cares about. Well, the government will figure it out. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay on any level. It's just not. So I want to challenge every Christian listening, every human listening. If you're a decent human being, you should look into it. Like, just Google this. How many foster care kids are there currently in the United States? And if that doesn't cause you to take action, I want you to question your Christianity. Yeah. Like, it's just that simple.
Yeah, we just went through a foster care thing at the church recently, and it was astounding. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I was in Texas alone. It was like 6,000 kids or something in Texas. Something like that.
More than that, right?
No, I think it was
I haven't looked at the numbers in a while. I used to look at them all the time.
I was thinking it was in just Texas.
And it used to be something that stayed on the forefront of my mind, and I'm glad you brought this up because it made me...
I might cut that because that may be way wrong. It might have been 60,000.
I honestly don't know. Yeah, I don't remember. There might be 6,000 in Harris County.
I just know that it was... Yeah, I just remember it was a number that I was like, whoa, blew my mind. Like in Texas alone.
Oh, and just because people might have this question, Cash and Olive, they definitely have different fathers. Well, I say that. We're pretty sure they have different fathers. And yeah, they definitely have different fathers. And they tested several men that she said might be the father of both, and it was none of them. Wow. If that gives you any kind of insight on that. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, anyways, I just want to challenge people to like...
Dude, we're going to put some links because I know Arrow. I'm pretty sure that we have some other friends who are going through Arrow right now. I think the Guffies are. They're doing fostering through Arrows.
Awesome.
And then our church has another group they're working through, and I can't remember the name of it right now. They just came to our church like 6 months ago, and we did a class with them and stuff.
Is another foster care agency?
Yes.
Cool.
And so I'm gonna get the links for both of those, and I'll attach them to this podcast.
Good deal.
Awesome, man. Just quickly to like a little testament to these kids. Okay. Yeah. I don't know Cash and all of that well, other than the fact that they're stinking cute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I've had the pleasure to talk to Kingston and Lace a little bit more. Yeah. And they're genuinely delightful kids. I don't live with them. They're probably turds at home. They're like any other. Something. They're like every other kid, right? But I mean, I've had conversations with Lisa. I've had conversations with Kingston. Dude, they're some really stinking cool kids. In fact, when I was doing the Grid Ultra a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, me and Lisa had a conversation for 2 miles on the trail. Yeah. And she's like the nicest girl ever. Yeah. Like seriously.
Yeah, no, she's a sweetheart.
She really is. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all 4 of them, all 5 of my kids, they really are. We're extremely hard on them. Me and Mandy are hard on each other and ourselves. So like just that's how the Stanford home is. We're all hard on each other. Yeah. We speak the truth in love, and we are hard on them. But yes, like when we step back, to see who our kids really are, like, yeah, we're extremely proud of who they are, who they're becoming, and it's fun to watch them, thrive.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Because they all are in their own way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Got anything, Jake?
Another great podcast.
Yeah.
You
have any questions?
Man, I had one, but when was it like normal to discipline them as your own kid?
Oh, and not
see that
that's different? Another thing.
That's
so you're not allowed to spank them at all. You can't lay a hand on them in any way, like to discipline them. So it was like time out, put them in the corner, stuff like that. And it was always the joke. You just wait until adoption. You just wait until adoption. And so, those were our kids. So like everything we did for them, with them, the way we talked to them, treated them, like they were ours.
Yeah.
Like you're mine. They never knew, oh, we might not get to stay with y'all. Like that never
Crossed their mind.
That wasn't something that was
Yeah.
an issue. So,
Yeah.
and then like, you know, the day that they were adopted, you know, things changed. Definitely did change.
Did you learn how to, I mean, obviously you had to learn how to parent without that physical discipline, but like, what did you learn before you got into like actually being adopted? Was it pretty tough? Did they not take you as serious when you're disciplining them, or, you know, how did that happen?
You haven't met my wife, I guess, but have you met Mandy? She's very intimidating. So she handled that fine. Yeah, we don't, I mean, no, our discipline was effective. Like it wasn't, that was never like an issue.
So I know you guys wouldn't be impartial to any of your kids because, you know, they come from different families. Then you have your own.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're all yours.
Yeah, we made one.
We made one.
Have they dealt with that at all?
Oh, they all have major issues. I'm just kidding.
Well, there's got to be some.
I mean, yeah, there's
for sure.
they have questions and like, yes, of course they have opinions and feelings, you know, about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they don't think
And,
that your youngest is the favorite. Like, do they
absolutely,
feel that way?
they think they're absolutely right. He is the baby. There's no expectation. Like, just, you know, be a little kid, you know? So yeah, no, Cash constantly says, they're like, well, he looks like you, so obviously.
Oh, dude, hit you deep.
I'm like, bro, you look just like me too. I don't know what you're talking about. His chest is
Massive.
no.
He's built like a tank. I said
A
that earlier.
year ago,
He's huge.
we were like, Cash, you need to get on the scale. A year ago, he weighed the same as I did. A year ago.
How old is he?
And
10?
A year ago, he was 11.
Oh, so, okay. So
A
he's
year
like
ago,
12
he was
now.
11. Yeah.
So at 11, he weighed.
And he's got a mustache and underarm hair. And a year ago, Mandy's like walking through the house, like, who is in my house? It's Cash. Hey, Mom. That's Cash, right? Because he went from like, hey, Mom, to instantly, hey, Mom. And so, yeah, Kingston, you know, he's his older brother. He's a year older. And, you know, he struggles with the fact that Cash is like bigger and
manly.
stronger and, you know.
Testosterone's already pumping through his veins crazy.
But, man, it's sad because Cash, he's so hard on himself. And he's just got a very, like, and again, ever since he could, you know, talk and reason, he's been that way. And we just, you know, I'm always trying to reinforce. And I have these talks with him. I'm like, bro, you have it so much better than you think you do. So it's crazy to see how different all their personalities are. Yeah. And Cash and Olive, they have this like really tight bond. And then Kingston and Lisa hate each other. No, they really do. But they also have a bond, right? They have this, but man, they are always at each other's throats. It's bad. I'm like, guys.
That true sibling rivalry.
Oh man, it's bad, yeah.
Dude.
But at the same time, they know, you know what I mean? Like, you're my people kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's good, man. Wow. All right, dude. Let's wrap it up. Kenny, thanks for coming on, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Great story.
That story.
Sharing your life with us.
Yeah, man.
Adoption. It's awesome, dude.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know it was that in depth, so I was excited. This is good for me. I thought I knew the story.
Did you not know any of this?
I mean, no, I knew the story to a degree, but not in this depth. Obviously, we've never talked about it in depth like this.
Gotcha.
I knew all the basics,
yeah,
you know, to a degree. You know?
Yeah.
So fantastic, dude.
Cool.
We always wrap up with a high five.
High five. Okay.
You can get one if you like.
Yeah, I'll take a high five.
There you go. Boom.
For free.
We're out.
Out.